actually didn't talk about grief. My bad. I literally got caught up into what was like the discerning of the Holy Spirit part of it. I didn't actually talk about the grief. So anyway, let's go back. Okay, so so like, all right. Monday I was in a place where I wasn't even capable of processing. Tuesday, once I kind of moved things around, got some things resolved. Tuesday is when it started to hit, basically. And like, it was weird how it happened. I saw like my pastor sent out a really nice email letting the church know what was happening. And I read it and I was like, oh wow, it's really well written. And then there was a social media post basically about it as well. Well, okay, again, really nice, really well written type thing. It wasn't until one of my friends did a post and basically was like, I'm going to miss my friend, that it kind of started to hit, right? And so like for me, I have experienced loss. I've experienced like close family members, people who are really close to have passed. So this wasn't like the first time I've experienced a loss, but it's been maybe a couple of years since the last one. So it's like frequent, but not that frequent. Thank God, that was but anyway, so like I've noticed that one of the things for me, and this even goes back to where we were visiting the person in the hospital, for me to be able to handle those situations, I feel like I just have to have something where I feel like I'm prepared. Like I remember it, and this goes back to even when I was like a little kid, like when my godfather passed away. I remember the night we went to the wake. Like I didn't go to the funeral because I was like 8, I didn't even be at the funeral. But I remember I took an orange. I had an orange in my pocket. It was like October of that year, and like so I had a jacket and I had an orange in my pocket. So I was like, just in case I might need a snack. I don't know. And so like I went to the wake, and then it was, like I knew what was happening. I knew my godfather had passed, and that I saw his body there and stuff. And so like I remember my mom took me out. I think she started to see me get like really emotional, really overwhelmed. So she took me out, and I remember I pulled out this orange. I was like, I have an orange, which is completely random, right? Like this was just an 8-year-old with an orange in her pocket, right? But that was I felt like I needed to have something just in case. And I didn't eat the orange, but it was just like I needed to have something. And so like I went to the hospital maybe a couple of weeks ago to visit the person. And so it's like one of those situations where I felt like I just needed to have something. And so I had like, I'm not going to go into details like what exactly I brought. And like I didn't give it to the person, but it's more so for me to have something to feel like I was prepared, And it's hard because you can't really prepare for those moments I didn't know I was going to be walking into. But like feeling like I was prepared seemed to help. So then once I kind of started really processing, okay, this person is gone, like for real. Basically, it was two different ways. I had the way that wasn't that great and the way that it was like, okay, this is what you really need to do. But, it's a process, and I'm not like going to beat myself up for not grieving properly. Like, it's a thing, And so, like, literally, I was shopping. Like I told you, that I kind of touched on it in the first video, but I didn't fully touch on, like, the progression of me dealing with grief. And so, like, I went shopping, and I kept eating pretty much. I brought so many sweets, so many candy, so much food. So I went out to eat. And I typically eat out on Sundays, and that's pretty much it. I meal prep. You guys know I meal prep. So like I typically meal prep, so I'm not eating out a lot anyways. But like I was going out to eat a whole lot, because it just felt like, and every time I had to do something for like a certain task, I had to prepare the resolution, and like I had to get it framed, like printed and framed, like on those big frames or whatever. And so like I'll tell you guys about that story. So my pastor had me do it, signed off on it, was great. And so then I needed to get it printed and framed. This was Thursday, funeral was Saturday. So I was like, okay, where can I go? I can go to Michael's. They do custom frames, because I had two sizes of pieces of paper, right? I had one that was 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 14, because it was too long to fit on one sheet of paper, right? And then I had 11 by 17. And like I went to Hobby Lobby before I even got it printed, because I was like, I need to know what size frame they have in stores, so then that way I can print it on a piece of paper that would fit, just in case I couldn't do a custom frame, right? And so I remember it was 11 by something. So I was like, okay, I saw that FedEx printed on 11. Theirs was 11 by 17. So I got that. And I also got the 8.5 by 14 pieces of paper for the resolution. So what I did was got my pastor to sign it. I went to Michael's. And so like I went to the back, the custom framing, and she was like, okay, what's this for? And I was like telling her, yeah, churchman passed away. She was like, okay, yeah. She was like, okay, for our custom framing, it takes 2 weeks. Mind you, I had 2 days to get this done. And so, like, I was like, okay. But she was like, you know what? We can see what we have in store. Because I actually had went around the aisles to see if they had any 11 by 17s. And what I saw was 11 by 14s. And I was like, that's probably what I saw in Hobby Lobby was 11 by 14. So now I ain't low-key in panic mode because how am I going to go back to tell my pastor that we can't get this thing framed by Saturday? I was like, ain't no way possible for me to do that, right? So, right, she goes to the aisle. We end up finding the 11 by 17. They just so happen to have a small selection of it, right? So, like, okay, phew. And so then she like, okay, here they are. And then she went off, legit almost cried in the middle of Michael's. And, like, I almost started crying. And this was at the point where not when I thought that something was wrong or we wouldn't be able to get this done, but when the frames were there. Because, like, I was like, even though everything is fine right now, it almost wasn't fine. And like I could not handle that. And so like it was not a great thing. So then after Michael's, I went to Cold Stone and got me ice cream because I was like, you know what, like just go get some ice cream. So like literally I was dealing with that grief by spending money and eating pretty much. And that was not the best way to go about that. And I know that. Because the thing was, it's like there's a lot of things I needed to talk about, like to talk through. And basically it didn't matter how many conversations I had with my friends or my family members or whatever. I really need to have a conversation with God. And that actually ended up happening Friday night, Saturday morning. It was late, so I don't know which. But and to the point where basically I just needed a moment to say, hey, God, I trust you, I love you, and I, understand, I submit to your will and to your way, and I understand you're a sovereign God, but I'm also frustrated, and I'm also upset, and I'm also sad, and I'm also feeling this thing. So like if you're dealing with grief, like and I get like we can't always have those conversations right in a certain moment that, like when I first heard the news, I wasn't even in that place where I could even process it. And then I was going to work, and so I had a busy day. Like the first 2 days were really busy because of that training. So I didn't have the time to really let myself go like that. So I could, because I had so much other stuff. And then getting ready for the funeral, there were so many things I was like to make sure it was straight. But then also just the regular church business that had to be done in the midst of all of this other stuff that we were going through. Still had other stuff coming up, And so like, it's okay to not deal with it right away, It's okay to not like actually process it or not to really come to grips with it or deal like with your sadness or recognize your sadness right away. It's okay. But like my thing is though, you should like when you can, as soon as possible, deal with it, talk it out. And the thing is, you can talk to everybody, but the thing is you're only gonna really find that true comfort from going to God. So having that conversation with God. I literally put on my little warm music. I was like, God, you and I, we need to have a conversation. And this might not be one of those, oh, I love you. One of those type of ones. It wasn't going to be that because I knew I was frustrated. I knew I was upset. And like I hadn't had the time or the space to be able to express that until that moment. But then I had that moment with God and I laid it all out. And God reassured me and he comforted me. And he kind of gave me that understanding. He reminded me of a situation that happened months ago where there was a couple who were like trying to, like the husband was trying to find like a job in the city, and if not, they were going to have to move back to like their hometown or wherever. And then one of the days, it was like after church, we were praying and like everything was going crazy, but everybody was praying, like people were prophesying. It was one of those really, really big moments, right? And so like I was praying in that moment of like, God, let them find a job here, let them be able to stay. And God kept saying, send off. This is a send off. This is a send off. This is a send off. To the point where I was frustrated, but I was like, you know what, God, your will. And I just had to lift my hands up, like I had to surrender to his will. And so like God showed me that, like, because the thing is, one of the things I was really dealing with was the fact that we are all praying for healing, like on earth, not like, you get the healing on earth, like, in heaven, that type of thing. No, we were praying for healing here on earth. That was our prayer. But then we were also praying, God, your will. And so when you're praying, God, your will, like we have power. Like I've read enough books to say, you can have what you say. We literally had a whole challenge where it was like, you can have what you say. So if I pray this thing, I can have it. If I believe it, Mark 11:24, if I ask a thing, I believe I can have it, I can receive it. But then when you pray, God, your will, you're submitting to his will. So like it kind of cancels that first prayer out. And so God was kind of showing me that and like gave me understanding that I would not have had unless I went to him. Like I could have talked to my pastor, I could have talked to my friends, I could have talked to any other or the elders or whoever, but like that was something God gave to me. And like it's like, okay, because it didn't come from someone else, it came from the person who like literally God made that decision. That was his decision. So it's like, all right. And so then that's what helped me. So like I get that it's hard and it's difficult and like you might be frustrated. And I know sometimes we grew up in cultures where or churches where you can't have those type of conversations with God. But the thing is, God can handle it. He can handle our frustrations. He made us. He knows us. And it's like it's better to have that conversation with God than to block out God and then like literally, go the other way or like have an issue with God and never go to him about it. So then that creates separation. And then you go back to the world because there's this separation because you just didn't have a conversation with God. Like I grew up in the church. I don't say I grew up in the church, but I grew up in the kind of like a culture where it was very much, I don't know if you should say that to God, like very much kind of like it was reverence, but almost to a point where I don't know what kind of conversations I can have to, like, can I talk to God this way? Like, I don't know, like, I'm mad, God, is something I would have never said, like, back then, because I'm like, it felt like a boundary I couldn't cross, But the thing is, it's like, it's better to be open with your frustrations, your upsets, and all that stuff to God than to start talking to like other people, or because you never know who the enemy might use. Because God is going to give you that reassurance, that comfort, that this is what's happening, this is why this had to happen. Other people are going to say, "Oh, God's not fair, or God doesn't love you, or God doesn't do whatever or whatever." They're going to start speaking those lies. So, like, to avoid all that, go to God, go to the source, and then that way you can truly like use that moment to grow. Because now it's like that's wisdom right there. Like, God gave me wisdom. God gave me an insight on why he did certain things. God gave me an understanding. So now I'm wiser because of it, and I know how to operate. Because like in the challenge, like the beginning part of the challenge, I was asking for everything. Everything I had enough faith to believe for, I was asking for. But it was literally as the challenge went on, I was like, wait, no, you have to be wise with this kind of thing. And so now I kind of have more parameters on what I can ask for. And I can ask for anything, but should I ask for everything? That's two different things. So I am definitely thankful for that. So yeah, if you're dealing with grief, take your time. Don't rush it. I don't even know if I'm still fully there, Like definitely at the funeral, I definitely felt that thing, like this is real. But who knows? I might pop up in a week and know like, oh no, it might get. I feel like I'm at a good place right now, honestly. Before the funeral, I was like, I don't know where I am, but I feel like I'm in a better place. But like, even the thing I was thinking about today was like, a funeral doesn't mean you stop grieving, And I know a lot of times that we have the funeral, like you were allowed to grieve until that funeral, and once that funeral is over, like that's it, you have to stop. But like you're still grieving, because that's a loss, and that's still a pain. But I want to encourage you to take those things up with God, to allow him to like give you understanding, to allow him to give you that strength, to allow you to give you those things that you need to do, you can move forward. Because the thing is, it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be upset, it's okay to be mad, frustrated, but we can't stay there because we got work to do. So yeah, now that we talked about everything I wanted to talk about, I'll talk to y'all later.